Sikeleli Afrika Malupagami Sukololwa Yo Izwa imitangazo etu Viva Cosatu, Cosatu, viva!
Stand up, all victims of oppression, for the tyrants fear your might. Don't cling so hard to your possessions, for you have nothing if you have no rights. Let racist ignorance be
solidarity.
When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? But the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. Is there aught we hold in common with the greedy parasite who would lash us into serfdom and would crush us with his might? Is there anything left to us but to organize and fight? For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. It is we who plowed the prairies, built the cities where they trade, dug the mines and built the workshops, endless miles of railroad laid. We stand outcast and starve amidst the wonders we have made, but the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. All the world that's owned by idle drones is ours and ours alone. We have laid the wide foundation, built it skyward stone by stone. It is ours not to slave in, but to master and to own, while the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. They have taken untold millions that they've never toiled to earn, but without our brain and muscle, not a single wheel can turn. We can break their haughty power, gain our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. In our hands is placed a power greater than their hoarded gold, greater than the might of armies magnified 1,000-fold. We can bring to birth a new world from the ashes of the old, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong.
Mandla! We are going to be welcomed by Nkosi Traditional Authority. Bakhono gore emaka lefoko.
Oliver Tambo wasikhombisa indlela yenkululeko washiya emhlabeni usuqedile umsebenzi wama-Afrika. Oliver Tambo wasikhombisa indlela yenkululeko.
Re rata go tšea sebaka se go leboga tlhompho yeo re fileng yona re leba Bengwenyama Maswazi Traditional Authority go memiwa ka gare ga moletlo o tsebalegago ka wa May Day. Re rata go amogela batho ka moka go mokete wo mobotse wa tšatši la lehono. Re rata go tšea tlhompho re lebiše go Bengwenyama ya Maswazi Traditional Council under the leadership of Gogo. Re rata go tšea recognition re iše go baagišane ba rena ba ga Roka Phasha ba mšate wa ga Phasha. Re rata go tšea lebaka le re iše tlhompho go ba mšate wa ga ba Mampuru ile go bona baagišane mmogo le rena ba Bengwenyama ya Maswazi. Re rata go hlompha batsebalegi ka moka ba ba le go fa ba mengwilego re ka sa ba bitšego ka maina ka mokana ga bona. Re leboga Cosatu go re mema le go mema batho ka moka. Re dulang le kgotsele, dulang shebe-shebe le iketleng le ipsineng ba fela ba bangwe ba re dimpša re di tlemile. Legatong la Gogo go ya ka protocol ya rena a ka se tlefa a tla wa bolela yena o romela bana ba gage gore ba tle ba mmolabolele legatong la gage. Ke lefa ke emetše mmago rena mmago setšhaba sa Bengwenyama ya Maswati o re dulang le kgoseleng mo nageng ya gage le tiketleng le ska ba la tšhoga selo. O re tšwelang pele lena ba Cosatu go lwela ditokelo tša bašomi kua mošomong ka gore bašomi ba sotlega letšatši ka letšatši. Yang maatla le loleng setšhaba sa Rantsho, yang maatla le loleng setšhaba sa Gogo, bana ba Gogo ba sotlega letšatši ka letšatši. Ka gore yalo ka mantšu a makopana mosepediši se ka ba e motelele re a leboga.
Comrade Jamela, who is representing the Young Workers Forum, who is the national chairperson of Young Workers Forum, ya Cosatu.
Today, re tlile ka mo as Cosatu Young Workers. Dipelo tša rena di robeile, comrades. Chairperson, I don't have strength to speak on this local. We just buried the leaders of young workers in this local. In September, we've buried Comrade Lotanang. Recently, we've buried Comrade Ala, who was serving as a deputy national chair of NUMU structure. These comrades were the leaders of young workers in the same local who are here today. And also Cosatu in headquarters. They are mourning one of their own, the financial accountant, Comrade Dalelan. Through you, Chair, I'm asking that we observe the moment of silence of the departed souls that we are mourning today as a Workers' Day. I'm asking all of us to stand up for a moment of silence and honor these three fallen heroes of our lifetime, the generation of Cosatu. May the departed souls rest in peace. Thank you, comrades. Comrades, we are here also to commemorate the 20 years after the departed souls of the 51 shop stewards from Northern Cape who were going to celebrate their Workers' Day in freedom from Northern Cape. 50 members of SAMU and 1 from Sakau. We are commemorating this day for the importance to see that the whole bus drone only 12 survived on this same day. It is very dangerous to say, sitting here, as I was alluding to say, we lost 2 souls that were going to champion the interests of workers in this local. We are sitting here as young workers unemployed. Comrade Mashwawa. We are sitting here, young workers are employed as EPWP, as contract workers. We've been sitting here for the COVID contract workers who were there. Amongst them, there were young workers who were working. Today, they're on the street unemployed. We're sitting here, workers are crying because of the treatment that the government of the ANC that we love is still treating us. Workers are not going to be celebrating after we are butchered each and every day as workers. We've been briefed about the deterioration of the services that needs to be rendered. Mayor, what we had, Makhoshi Balalaga, the service deliveries of ours, of the government of the ANC, Arul Lukishen Makoma, 2024 Itlova Yima, Bashumi Ga-Mapodile, and it's very serious. We can't collapse in the alliance led by the ANC, and then Bashumi Ga-Mapodile, got the ill treatment that we're facing by the workers, by your employees who are in government. Comrade Maflowa, you must go and check stock, but the employees are not even. The only thing that they want is to be shining that blue light, but people on the ground are suffering. Really, Minamata to lead is not people that are voting the African National Congress. Ngarigi is stupid. Don't ill-treat us. Respect us. Give us the dignity that we deserve. You see these workers who are here. Erika wa cheka rubago, chikampana lo wana basana lichele lo ta obochar salary is gone. Rugodi got Friday last week, but we are poor of the poorest. We are left with a minus balance. We are going to vote for the ANC, and we are leading the African National Congress. And it is currently when we go to branches of the ANC, we are members of the ANC. And we have affiliated to this ANC. We'll never reject the African National Congress. We'll defend it and we'll criticize it in a manner that we need to change. The reconfiguration of the alliance, it depends in each and every one of here. When you go to portal of the ANC, the members of the ANC, the members of Cosatu, the leaders. We need to caution you that these members who are sitting here, vacancy are more than 60% in their workplaces. We are being insulted. Our nurses are insulted in this province. A person will go out and insult that my nurse each and every day. It must come to an end. Our communities must respect our healthcare workers. They can't be butchered every day. And this is done because of the difference of the ANC. You insult workers who are working. That vacancy that is happening within this province, it needs to be changed. Respect workers so that your service deliveries in the communities must be seen and people must respect the government of the ANC. Workers must deserve what is due. Always when they demand the man of PMDS, here we are sitting. NUM this is the biggest region of NUM, Northeast. We've got mines. Let's check who are benefiting here in these mines. Is it the local benefiting here? Who are beneficiaries? We're sitting with unemployment. We can't be having chrome and mine in this area of Skukune. That is taken out from this province. Being done as well as this to us. That must stop. We need to manufacture within Skukune so that the economy of Skukune must grow. We need to understand that we can't be the leaders of chrome here in this province. We don't have any TVET that is bringing the skills in this region. Region serious, and workers need to be taken serious. So that everyone can listen. Wherever you go, you must be respected. Young workers of Cosatu, your time is space, and we love you so much. This is a Workers' Day, and we deserve to celebrate it. Amandla.
We are going to call the National Deputy Chairperson, Agenda Committee, Comrade Lebogang.
Comrade, we are gathered here today to celebrate the Workers' Day, which was being celebrated worldwide. It's been celebrated every year. The aim is to honor and appreciate the contribution of the workers and their labor class movement. But according to my observation, I see that nothing has changed. We are still living in the same living wage that the Durban strike that happened in 1973 in Durban fought for it. Nothing has changed. And we also need to fight for a better free environment for all. We are working under an environment that is not free. We have been discriminated according to our gender, especially we as women. I'm leading the gender structure in Cosatu. I'm also leading the national women structure in NUM. When you go to underground, you can see that women are still being oppressed. I'm an LED operator by profession. We as workers, we need to unite and fight for our rights. Can we unite as trade union to spend? You have nothing that you can point and say, I have a better living environment. Where I'm staying, it's much better compared to 2012. It's the same environment because there is nothing that can be shown or be seen to be given to be on the table and say, this is what I've benefited. The 11th strike fought for living wage, but still today we are still fighting for living wage. Can we become one? Let's try to create a free working environment that is gender-based violence free. To these viewers, I'm saying Happy Workers' Day. Amanda.
Seremi, you can give us an item.
Seremo fihlile.
On behalf of the ANC, led by Comrade President Cyril Ramaphosa, we convey our warm and revolutionary greetings to the workers of our country in this beautiful province of Limpopo, the continent and the world, on the occasion of the 23rd International Workers' Day. The liberation movement in the ANC, we are united in conveying our solidarity message with workers and the struggles on this International Workers' Day. The ANC says, workers of the world unite. Unity is our strength, comrades. You know that this day, comrades, it was first started in 1886, where workers, they use this day, comrades, that we must highlight the conditions and the plight of the working class. We must also use this day, comrades, to defend and advance the workers' rights. Workers, we must also use this day to pledge solidarity with fellow workers who are facing oppressive and authoritarian regime across the globe, comrades. As the ANC-led alliance, the ANC, the SSCP and Cosatu, who have worked side by side during difficult times, comrades. Together we brought the apartheid regime down. We must never forget that, comrades. Some comrades, they paid the biggest price, comrades. They lost their lives in the fight for freedom. So that you and I, today we can stay here and celebrate the International Workers' Day. We must never forget that. The workers in our country, led by the ANC, SSCP and Cosatu, when we got our freedom in 1994, we started to rebuild South Africa from the rules of apartheid. After 29 years of democracy, comrades, South Africa is better today than yesterday. The ANC-led alliance will put all the laws that are in favor of the working class. We've improved the conditions of all our people, whether in the economy, whether in education, whether in the provision of basic services. South Africa is better today. But the ANC, your movement, my movement, is the first to admit that more needs still to be done. Over the last 29 years, comrades, we've made mistakes along the way. And these mistakes, comrades, they are in the cause of our struggle. It does not mean that we must give up on each other. Comrades, when it is more difficult, like it was difficult when we were waiting the struggle for apartheid, we never tried to tear this alliance apart. This alliance, comrades, it was not forged by individuals, but it was forged on the basis of the trenches that we shared in the struggle for freedom, where we lost lives, comrades, but we also scored victories, comrades. The alliance, comrades, is not an association of leaders where we must make an agreement or a pact around the table. Our alliance is forged by the blood of our martyrs. The current leadership of the alliance, we have no option but is to keep the alliance strong. We have no option. Don't divide Cosatu. Don't divide the SADTU. Don't divide the ANC. Those who are dividing this alliance, they are the enemy of our revolution. Comrades, the challenges you face today, they must be in a position to remind us that trade unions and the working class, you played a critical role in advancing the struggle for a better life for all, especially the downtrodden and the poorest of the poor. We must remember this day, comrades, that there are people that were there before us, like Bill Andrews, Ray Alexandra, Francis Bart, John Kadimeni, Mark Chopin, Beta Trowa, and Elita Barai. Those are the people who are our forebears, and we must never forget when we celebrate this day. Threatening each other as alliance component, comrades, we don't have that luxury. This alliance cannot be killed by us. If there are those amongst us at the leadership level that think that we must have a pact of leaders who are in a wrong alliance, our pact, comrades, we must respect each other, we must consult, we must strengthen, but we must ensure we are united by only one thing, is the struggle of our people for a better life for all. If we can deliver on that, comrades, without fail, we deserve to be recognized as leaders of this alliance. But we say down with divisions, strengthen Cosatu, strengthen the ANC, ANC must renew, but also the SACP must continue to give us clarity, comrade Dinip. Wish you all the best on behalf of the ANC. Long live Basebenzi, long live! Dinam Sebenzi, Dinam! Family, the Revolutionary Alliance family!
We are going to call comrades Dinyiko Mtini, CEC member of the South African Communist Party, to come and give us a message of support.
Let us take this time to greet, most importantly, the workers who today, this is your day. Comrade Chair, why yes, the SACP to pledge solidarity and continue to celebrate and commemorate with the workers. But we must say that as we celebrate this 137th day anniversary, we remember that this year marks the 50th anniversary of the Durban strike. And since 1994, our democratic breakthrough, there are achievements that the workers have achieved and have gained. But what is important today is for us to make an assessment of how far are we and what needs to be done. But the reality is that it is painful that we converge here today while the gains of 1994 are being reversed. We meet here today while the workers are under siege. We meet here today while the workers are facing an onslaught because of neoliberal policy trajectory, because of the austerity measures that are aimed at the workers. It is very much important that as we celebrate this day, comrades, we condemn any attempts of an attack to collective bargaining that we have seen. And it can happen, Comrade Mahlobo, that after 29 years of the democratic breakthrough, it is this government of the people by the people that will want to undermine the same gains we've achieved since 1994. It can't be this government that will undermine collective bargaining. It can't be this government that when we've agreed to say this is how we're going then to complement workers who have given up their labor, then we renege from those agreements. When we speak about reconfiguration of the alliance, these are some of the issues, comrades, that we're highlighting. And as the SACP, we will not be apologetic, comrades. Ours is to defend and advance the interest of the working class. What has brought this alliance together? It has been a common program that we shared of the National Democratic Revolution. This was not an electoral pact in 1928 when it was formed. It was formed on the basis of the struggles on the ground, and all of us committing to advance the National Democratic Revolution. But when the NDR is under siege, when the NDR is under threat, when we start to have differences on policy issues, then we'll have a problem as the South African Communist Party. We'll never be side by side, Comrade Mahlobo, if then we continue to implement neoliberal policies that seek to undermine the working class, that seek to undermine workers. The cost of living is very high. We say there's a need to reconfigure this alliance. Comrades, as we celebrate this May Day, we need to condemn the acts of criminality that have taken over our society, our communities. We see crime in each and every corner. Our parents can no longer even enjoy to use public transport to and from work because there are just criminal activities happening. We need to unite as communities. We need to start to regain ourselves and then mobilize ourselves and establish the self-defense units which we had in the historic times in fighting against crime in our communities. We need to continue to unite, especially as the maize and say, not in our names, that we shall see children being killed, see children being kidnapped, and see women and the LGBTQI community failing to enjoy life in our society because of us as the maize being the perpetrators. We need to fight against gender-based violence and femicides wherever it shows us. We should not even be the leaders who will stand here and speak against it, but when we get to our homes, we are the first people to apply the same GBF in our own kids and our wives. We need to lead by example as leaders too. Workers, we must unite because there's nothing else that will defeat unity. But if we continue to then differentiate each other based on our federation affiliation or based on which union we belong to, therefore we will not be able to overcome these things. Because when the bourgeois comes, they are always on the offensive and united. It needs us to unite as the working class and build a powerful socialist movement of the workers and the poor to confront all these social ills, to confront all the economic ills, And then in that way, we'll be able to defend the national democratic revolution. With these few words, comrades, we wish this May Day a success, and we say the workers must unite and continue to fight side by side, and know that the SACP, as the vanguard of the working class and the poor, will always be by your side. You are not alone. We'll always walk with you, whether it is or it's difficult. Amandla. Le hono ke mengwaga e masometharo šupa Cosatu ile gona jwale letšatši le la lehono la bašomi le ketekwa lefase ka bophara le bopapetla bja lona go thoma ka 1886 jwale ka ge comrade Mahlobo a laeditše fako mono ga gešo Limpopo Monrageshu, South Africa, the ANC-led government, after the democratic breakthrough, they recognized May Day as a Workers' Day in line with recognition of struggles waged by workers to bring down the apartheid government. Other important days would include the Human Rights Day, in which we remember the 1960 Sharpeville Langa massacres, wherein comrades were butchered while fighting against apartheid but for their rights. Le leng la matšatši ao e leng gore a bohlokwa calendaring ya ka mono ga gaborena ke the 9th of August, in which the struggles, relentless ones for that matter, waged by women is also recognized. And so is the case with the struggles waged by the youth. You would remember the 1976 uprisings that our democratic government has recognized the 16th of June as a youth day. Unfortunately, many among us take this as a holiday. We should have been here in our numbers with our families to come and celebrate this day. Then it tells you that we have a responsibility to teach workers, and in this case, we are referring to also those 12 million people who are unemployed, because they are also workers in their own right. They want to work, but they can't access work. As you have learned, that part of the challenge that this country is facing is joblessness, which is around 40%. So we must conscientize those that are working and those that want to access work that this is their day. We also remember that on the 1st of May 2003, almost 20 years ago, 52 Cosatu members perished in a bus accident at Bethlehem in Free State, which plunged into a dam when they were going to celebrate this day. Molaetša o mogolo o khuduthamaga e nthomileng gore ke o tliše mo o ka makgatlo goba ka 3 stages. Stage 1, ba re
Bote, stage 2, bare unity, stage 3, bare ariveng ba molomo wa lehlabula, ntlo le role magageshu ga e tswa le kgoši. If we continue with public spares and go on each other's throat, with the 2024 general elections just around the corner, we will all live to regret. Why didn't we ask God to give us the wisdom of Solomon, that we need each other more than ever before? The ANC needs Cosatu, Cosatu needs the SACP, the SACP needs Sanko. We need one another, comrades, more than ever before. If we make a mistake, we go into the 2024 general elections speaking in forked tongues. We can as well kiss this democratic breakthrough goodbye. And if it goes, you will never, comrades, realize the importance of the sun until it sets. We will look back and say, it died in our hands. Now, this May Day, as alluded to, it's a workers' holiday in recognition of the sacrifices, the struggles, the victories, and sometimes losses. Some of those losses would be on wages, would be on lives, people being killed, loss of jobs, and so on. But on victories, the maternity leaves that we have now, the recognition of unions was not automatic. Family responsibility leave and many others did not come out cheap. It is against this background that we must continue to fight for bettering conditions of the workers at workplace. Comrades, don't join unions because it is fashionable to do so. They join unions because unions have a responsibility to represent workers, to fight relentlessly for better working conditions, including better wages. But revolutionary trade unions are not workerists. Workerists look at themselves and themselves alone. They forget about those that are not employed and yet they want to work. There must come a time in our life wherein we would demand more and say 2 or 3% of our demands must go to job creation, if indeed we represent the working class and the poor. As alluded, our unity is vital. We as workers are not enemies against each other. Our common enemy is capital. The challenges that are there in Cosatu, we must not shy away from them. That the public sector unions are not reading from the same page. And as they fail to read from the same page, you know what happens when 2 elephants fight. It is the grass that suffers. Our members on the ground are made to suffer because we're taking too much time to come together. We're requesting the SACP, we're requesting the ANC, we're requesting everybody to come to our rescue so that we must come together and be united. It doesn't help if SADTU doesn't read from the same page with Nehao, and it doesn't help if Nehao does not read from the same page with SADTU. What about the struggles of the workers in between? Comrades, Karl Marx has reminded us that we must unite because we got nothing to lose but our chains and the whole world to win. So, solidarity is important, comrades. When SADTU is on strike, an injury to one is an injury to all. When SADTU is on strike, an injury to one is an injury to all. And all other affiliates of Cosatu, the list goes on and on. So we must stand by one another. If we don't, workers will stand to lose because the employers will take advantage of our divisions. We must not be complacent, comrades, that those of us in the public sector unions are today having an upper hand because our numbers are bigger than those in the private sector. As the country's jobs are shrinking and dwindling, so are the numbers of the unions in the private sector. We need to come to their rescue. We need to assist them. Of course, this is 50 years since the Durban strike, and comrades have already spoken on that. Let me not dwell on the Durban strike as it has already been touched. We need to grow our membership. All affiliates of Cosatu, grow your membership. But comrades, if we fish from the pond, if we recruit each other or one another's membership, that is a cause for conflict. We must continue to fight for collective bargaining. We must recruit and retain members in line with our 2015 plan that we want 2 million and more workers to be in Cosatu, because any worker who is not in Cosatu is not unionized. At all given times, we have a political mandate to continue to fight to improve the working conditions of all South Africans. That is why we are asking the question, if the NDR, the National Democratic Revolution, is off the rail or has taken a detour, is it not our responsibility to say this NDR, which means the transfer of power to the majority, be it political, economic, and better living conditions, we have to make sure that the NDR is back on track and make sure that we speak in one voice. The issues of conciliation, mediation, arbitration within the PSCBC and other bargaining chambers is something that has to be taken serious. Because if we rush to the courts to solve our problems, it is not given that by going to the courts we will get something positive on our side. The matter was taken to court. At Labour Court, we lost that matter. It was taken to the highest court in the form of appeal. The highest court in the country, the Constitutional Court, whose decision is binding and final, said to us that agreement was null and void. Had it been any other government, like what is happening with what the DA is doing in Tshwane, for instance, hardly a week after they have come into power in Tshwane, already they are saying the salaries of the SAMU workers are high and they want to freeze them. Who said to you, if the ANC-led government loses power in 2024, who said to you, DA and company, will not freeze our salaries? They will, comrades. Therefore, our unity is sacrosanct. Let's continue to pledge solidarity not only in Africa, but the world over. The challenges that are faced by workers in Palestine, the challenges that are faced by workers in Swaziland through the 1973 declaration by King Sobusa, wherein he declared a state of emergency and that all political parties are not allowed to operate. It's 50 years now. There are many battles that we have waged as workers, including the national minimum wage, including changes to UIF unemployment insurance fund. Unfortunately, there is some corruption that is alleged to be happening there. We must not keep quiet. We are urging the ANC-led government to say workers must have an early access to their pensions, but with conditions, very serious conditions, because you are acutely and painfully aware that we have become a welfare state. 18 million pensioners in the country is something that moving forward you may not be able to sustain. And therefore, when we access early pension, it must be used to make sure that it cushions for the challenges that we have. Not to go and buy beautiful cars, not to go and buy smart drinks and so on. Because if we do, we're going to retire poor. Also, we must be careful that if the majority of the workers, about 10 to 15 million in the country, access their pensions earlier, or in the public service through the PIC, if they want their money back, all of them at once, the state has collapsed because the PIC has invested that money. So there must be very tough regulations as to how we access that, so that it must be used properly. We have spoken about the strike in Macro, that we support Sakau there, and we are saying that we must boycott them because we can't do in the boardroom what we can't do in the streets. On the just transition, the electricity challenges, we are saying the government must work with the necessary speed to make sure that the issues of load shedding are addressed. But we are not happy, Comrade Mahlobo, we must say, that when the ministers, Pravin Gordhan, Gwedemantashe, and Ramukhupa, seem to be fighting for the turf when we are on load shedding, it's not something to write home about. The NEC and the president of the country must take a tough stance on this issue to make sure that the issue of load shedding is sorted out. We welcome the just transition, but we are saying in Mpumalanga, with about 13 to 15 mines, coal mines there, we must come with new scientific methodologies to reduce carbon emission, instead of saying that they must just close. Because if they do, many of our towns will become ghost towns and joblessness will increase. And when joblessness increases, so is crime and other social ills. When we fight corruption, comrades, we must protect the whistleblowers, all of them. And Comrade Mahlobo has spoken on BRICS. Let me not touch on it, controversial as it is. Let me not touch on it, because on the ICC, comrades, in the morning the SG says we need to consider pulling out of this ICC. Later on the president comes in and say, yes, the ICC, International Criminal Court, is not treating us equally. But the ANC Congress in December, later on we are told, said we remain here. But we must do something to make sure that the hiccups that are there for Russia and others to be free must be removed through a legislation which we must pass as swiftly as possible. Because if we don't, this is a quagmire. You know what our adversaries will do. You know what America will do. You know what the West will do. Our people on the ground might feel the pinch. We don't wish to see that happening. Let's see how best that can be managed. Down with crime, down. Down with crime, down. Comrades, criminality is wreaking havoc, and also corruption in state-owned enterprises as well as in private sector. Let's make sure that we attend to it and create more jobs and protect those that we have by making sure that local is legal and buying locally made goods. Yes, it's true, our challenges are many, the odds are great, but the solutions lay in our hands. If we are united, we are on the ground, we are campaigning, we are recruiting and defending workers, then we will be victorious. We cannot afford to fail the workers. Let us live today re-energized and more determined than ever to unite workers, build Cosatu, wage relentless working battles. Because of the challenges that Magoshi Arena have indicated here, the message to the ANC is our people want water, they want roads, they want us to end crime, they want us to improve health conditions, they want us to improve the education system, because through education, if we acquire relevant skills, we're able to deal with many of the challenges. But Comrade Matogo, here in Sekhukhune, there are two PSL teams, Sekhukhune United, Babina Noku, Marumo Gallants, Bahlabani Banto. Unfortunately, there is no stadium. How do we explain that there are mines here and this money is taken, is used throughout, but those that belong here do not benefit? Stadium Maruma Gallants choose Free State. Stadium United Tembisa. Their home ground, one is Tembisa and also Polokwane as an alternative. As we interact with the mine bosses here and everybody else that matter, we need at least one stadium, just one here in Sekhukhune. We have three biggest dams in the province: the Hoop, Loskop, Flekushiel. But are we drinking that water? If the answer is no, then something has to be done urgently. Kagorialo, Lehona Stachila Gore, Relo Lolo, Keleboga Untumeleji, Kitabuji Tsipa Msela, Msipidi Jwamudiro. Ore, unite, workers, unite! Unite, workers, unite! Unite, workers, unite!
malanga. Aye, shona malanga, shona malanga. Juba. Aye, shona malanga. 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 Tina Sizo. Aye, aye. Thank you, comrade. I was just greeting you. Kiabuya second half. For now, Ari Monchore Mashum. Alala Mashimi Alala. Alala Mashimi Alala. Itada. Rego namor to kita jilarna. Lama Shumi. Hai kuda lama. Hawa seveze. Hai kuda lama. Hawa seveze. How's it? Tika! Hawa Sevezima. Aha! Tigama! Good.
SADTU Online TV, coming live from Matthew Goniwe House. This is Nomusa Cembi, your host. Amandla.
Sifuna maqabane kaMandela